Hi everybody, today we talk about translucency in DAZ Studio by Iray 4.9. Translucency is how much light goes through a material, and not an opposite to transparency where you can see through an object. Translucency means how much light goes through an object. Okay, so let's start from scratch. So we have here, I will delete them. So first of all, we need a light from behind the object, not from the foresight. If you have a light from the front of an object, you won't see any translucency at all. You need some light from the back side of an object. So we start with a new primitive, in this case the plane on the z positive axis. Here it is. So this is a normal plane with a normal white map, the default white map. It is like gray, blue on the back side, on our side, and white, almost white on the back side because the light beams onto the surface on this side. Here you can see the shadow on the other side, in this case on our side, the viewer's side, and the light comes from behind the plane. So we add another primitive, and y positive will be a cylinder. So I will make it a little bit higher, smaller, like this. Make them both on the same zero line and move the cylinder behind the plane. So now we can see everything in real time because I have the NVIDIA Iray mode on in the preview view, so there's no delay for the rendering at the moment. So we have this behind it from our point of view, and normally we can see nothing, and if we give some opacity through to the object, we would see through the like a window. Yeah, but it is, you can see through an object. It's different from translucency, where the light bounces through the object, through the material. So let's see how it works. First of all, we need to make our plane, our material, an Iray Uber-based material, so it becomes an Iray shader. And there are two settings, they are important, but for the first moment we only use the translucency weight. We set it to 1, and you can see immediately how the shadow of the cylinder bounces on the other side, onto the other side of our plane, like a paper you put in front of a light and some object behind it. It's not the object we can see, it's the shadow of the object we see here. Make it clear. Here's the object. The shadow goes here and up here. This is what we see on our plane. If we move the cylinder away, the shadow will become smaller. Yeah, as you can see, this is the line of the shadow and the rest on our paper plane. Yeah, if we go closer again, the shadow becomes bigger on our side, on the front side, but it's only the shadow what we can see here. It's not the object. It's not transparency, it's translucency. That's the difference. So if we give the plane a base color, or let's say something slight red, you can see, depending on the translucency, if we have no translucency at all, you have the red base color here, and the more translucency we give, the more red the base color becomes. So if we give the plane a base color, or let's say something slight red, you can see, depending on the translucency, if we have no translucency at all, you have the red base color here, and the more translucency we give, the more red the base color becomes. sort of here. So it fades away. It goes to the translucency color. Well, let's make this one green. So now you have the color of light that comes through this, let's call it paper. The plane is our paper. So this is the color of light that comes through our paper. Yeah, so let's do something like this. So we have the green translucency color here, and we have the base color on the other side. That's really funny, right? So we have one plane with two different color sides. The color you can see on this side, on our front side, depends on the white of translucency. The more translucency white you dial in, the more translucency color you will see. Yeah? So everything between 0 and something, let's say 1, will be a mixture of the red and the green. Yeah, it's also important because you can have, depending on from what side the light comes, you can have a red object turning into green depending on the light that bounces from behind the object. So if you have a light from the front, nothing happens to the object in color. So it's also some interesting effect you can get. Okay. So let's make the cylinder, give it a color too. Let's give it something same. Yeah, blue is okay. So still we see just the shadow here. So we see some, let's say, gray light, the absence of light. So, and if we move the object closer, really close, but behind it, you can see here, it's really close to the map here, to the plane, to the paper plane. So, translucency white. See kind of blue coming through here, because though it's not transparent, as I mentioned before, it's not transparent. We have some dark blue from the cylinder on this side, because it's so close to it that the light beam from behind is so strong that it will allow some of the blue closest, only the nearest part to the paper here. This is a kind of blue. We go closer to it, we can see it, and it's a shadow, but a tinted shadow. Let's call it a tinted shadow, because the object is so close to the paper that the object color, the diffuse color of the object, gives us some color on this side of the paper plane. That's important too, because if you place an object really close to your translucent plane, you will see the color of the object too, not only the shadow. Though it's a shadow, it's a colored shadow from the whole bouncing light through the scene. That will cast some colored shadow onto our paper plane. So let's move it a little bit further away again. So here's the shadow, as you can see. And as I told you, the color of the side that is turned to the sun, to the light, depends on the translucent weight. If we lower the weight, the more base color you will see on the side of the light source. And on the other side, it depends how strong the translucency is. You will see the green right here from the translucency color. So far, so good. how we can use it in our scenes. For example, Genesis 3 female. So let's load one. Take a second. There she is. Go to her head and make the ears a little bit bigger. Something like this. Yeah. Okay. Back to Iray. Let's render it. Takes a second. A moment. Oh, here she is. Light comes from the back side of her, and we have here the ears, the translucency. You can see it very good. So we can raise it a little bit. Surface. So now we turn a normal shader into an Iray shader. We pick the Genesis 3 female and here as well. For the moment, I convert all shaders to Iray Uber-based shaders. That's no problem, you can do it because the settings will still look the same. They will not be the same because we have a lot of new settings here, but they will look the same as before. So you can do it without any loss of quality or lookalike. Yeah, what we need now is the skin. We choose the ears from the skin. So we have here skin, and you can see the arms, ears, face, legs, everything where skin is selected, but we want to focus on the ears. So from the beginning, we have here a translucency weight of 50%, but we can raise it a little bit more. So let's say 60%, 65%. It's only the ears. If we raise it much more, you can see the seam here. It's not fitting the rest of the color, so you have to be careful with it. If you make it on arms or the neck or somewhere, you have to care for the seams. This looks not natural anymore because the translucency of the figure is 50%, or 0.5, and we raised just the ears translucency weight to 69 or 70 here. So you can see a difference. But if you use some hair, or if you're good with Photoshop, you can eliminate the seam here and have more translucent ears than the rest of the body is translucent. What can be a pretty cool effect if you want to have a fragile elf flying through the woods or something like this. You can achieve something more interesting looking. Now we have it set to 1. The whole thing, the whole ears are translucent. But we go back to 0.5 for the moment, so it fits the rest of the body, the rest of the skin. Now we use the skin and we raise the translucent weight to 1. Now the whole body comes translucent somehow, but the thinnest parts of the body are, of course, the ears, here the skin on the ears. But it's not restricted to that. Let's see in a minute what happens to the hands also. We need posing for her. Let's go to the selfie pose. So now we get closer to the head again. And oops. And the phone, of course, attached to her. So here we have, let's capture it. more to the light, but let's rotate a little bit more in the hand only. So, now to the other side. So something like this. What you can see already is in this area here below the fingers, you have some translucency, and here the fingers have no translucency at the moment because the phone is in front of them. If we make the phone invisible, we have also translucency on the fingers. They are a little bit brighter now than before. So look at this, and we'll see what happens. If we raise the translucency from the skin, then it is set to 1, and we use transmit option, what will give more translucency through the object, through the hand, and we look for the backscattering. Backscattering, right? So backscattering is a setting where you can avoid light pushing through any object, so it becomes completely black. Yeah, there's no light bouncing through our female, and you can set the amount of light going through. So if you leave the backscattering white on 0, you have the normal translucency backscattering settings also, and it gets kind of complicated now, because everything depends on the translucency white. So leave the backscattering out. You can use it if you want to lower the translucency, but you you will see immediately you can make darker skins with it. So now it's not like a, let's say, European female anymore, like this. So you have something darker. So you don't need to deal with the colors of the skin or with the texture. You can use translucency and backscattering white to make darker skin tones. I think it's really important, and it's a good thing and an easy thing to make different styles, different kinds of skin to the body. And as you can see also, here is some light bouncing through the hand, and it's not here where the phone is on the other side. Yeah. So this is a point of translucency. It's kind of funny thing, and I hope you learned something from it. I will close now because you have seen how it works and how easy it is to change the skin tone of a figure, and with the use of translucency and backscattering white. Just the two features I wanted to talk about today, and I hope you like what you see, and you can do this and much more now on your own. Thank you, and bye bye.